This podcast is brought to you by Voice and Vision, bringing help, hope, and healing to individuals, families, and communities affected by mental illness, addictions, and disabilities in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Welcome to Untold Valor, a podcast with a unique focus on veterans, featuring stories of courage, recovery, perseverance, and strength. Listen to hear veterans share their perspectives on what it's like to battle mental health challenges, combat addictions, and overcome other adversities unique to those who have served.
Thank you so much for being here for another edition of Untold Valor, Veterans Recovery in Action. The year is winding down here, and we are so excited for our continued guest and continued support of the podcast. As always, if you have not subscribed, consider doing so on whatever podcasting app you enjoy, Apple or Spotify, and so on and so forth. You can find all the information at the end of the show. We have descriptions there and the links in the description, that you can click on to. Lots of tools, tips, and resources there as well for all the different services that the different folks that come on to try to provide, like this week. And we're super excited to talk to our guest this week, which is John Bond is going to be joining us. And we're going to be talking about Red, White, and Blue, that organization as well. So we're looking forward to that chat. Reverend Ben, how are you, sir?
Doing great. How you doing, Mark?
Doing very well. Looking forward to talking with you. And welcome in, John. How are you, sir? Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm honored to be here. And thanks for asking. Reverend Ben, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, exactly. And now, we got to start with the John Bond thing. I know you spent your whole life probably going Bond, John Bond.
Well, to perfectly honest, I actually have a twin brother named James Bond.
Oh, cool. That's hilarious. Yeah.
He is 007, licensed to kill. I am John Bond 006, licensed to chill. That has been my pickup line and my line for the past forever long.
That's awesome.
But yeah, many stories with that name.
That is awesome. Well, fantastic. So happy to have you here. So we always start with the same way. Tell us a little bit about you. Obviously, you look like looking at your bio, you've certainly served, and a lot of interesting stuff in there. But I'll let you kind of tell our listeners a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, again, thanks for having me on. So I am originally from the great state of Maryland, out of Silver Spring, Maryland. I grew up there with my mother and father. I do have veterans in my family. My grandfather was in World War II, my father's father, who was John Samuel Bond. And then throughout my childhood, I was in the Boy Scouts, and I didn't know it at the time, but all of my Scoutmasters and Assistant Scoutmasters were all veterans. Literally had a Coast Guard, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Army Scoutmasters in my troop. So the idea of wearing the uniform and serving in public service and being a good citizen to our community was definitely fostered there. And also with my father, who actually worked for the Boy Scouts. And through that in church, that was kind of my foundation growing up with my twin brother and big brother. And my big brother actually joined the United States Navy out of high school. So in that regard, veterans started being in our family more immediately. And then, when it came time to go to college, my dad asked, hey, how are we going to pay for this? And it was determined, that I joined the National Guard, the Virginia Army National Guard out of high school. I met with a recruiter, and I did that while I was in school at the College of William and Mary. And the recruiter, Sergeant First Class Toman, I remember him to this day, said, hey, William and Mary has an ROTC program. You can go ahead. Why don't you check that out? And sure enough, I did. And it ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made. So I was cadet and in the National Guard at the same time in what was called the simultaneous membership program. So where I was a cadet when I was drilling in the National Guard, after being a private and going to basic training, all that kind of fun stuff. So came into the Army as a private combat engineer, then did that while I was an undergrad. Once I commissioned and graduated the College of William and Mary, I commissioned as an artillery officer and went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, did my artillery school. And my first duty station was Germany, which ended up being a blessing as well. Ironic enough, the first 2 times I was ever on an aircraft or a plane was when I went to basic training at Fort Leonard, and then when I flew out to Germany.
When did you join? What year?
I joined in the summer of 1996 in the National Guard. So right before my freshman year of college. And then I commissioned in December of 2001. So immediately following 9/11 was when I commissioned.
Oh, wow.
And I even remember my National Guard unit got activated on 9/11. And I went to the armory from, I was in my last semester of school and we got activated. So went there. And at the time, cadets could not be activated. So my professor of military science actually called me back, and then we were kind of deactivated the next day. So because our services weren't needed, but we did have a few folks that went up to DC at that time.
Wow. So you served 18 years?
So, yes, total of 18 years combined with the National Guard and active duty. And now I work with the Department of the Navy. So went from the Army to the Navy, a little bit of a switch, but I'm now a Navy civilian here in the Philadelphia Navy Yard, working for the Naval Foundry and Propeller Center. So,
nice. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, obviously, looking at your resume here, you've been all over. You went to many different theaters and stuff, so a ton of stuff there. So, Reverend Ben, any thoughts from you? I know you want to jump in here.
Yeah, I was listening to how he progressed. And I think, John, you said you got commissioned. So you started as an enlistment man and ended up as a commissioned officer, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did 5.5 years National Guard, from a private to a specialist to a cadet. And then when I commissioned, I went from second lieutenant to major in the Field Artillery Corps from December of 2001 to August of 2014.
So I see you got a Master's of Arts in Psychology as well, John.
Yes, sir. So I've always loved psychology. It was one of my undergrad. I think I'm one of the few people that graduated from William & Mary with a degree in both psychology and theater, but also did ROTC. And so I went in the Army then. But yes, I got my master's 2013, I believe, when I finished it up with a Master's of Arts in Psychology with a study of organizational leadership. I've always loved studying leadership ever since I was a child, through Boy Scouts and football and how it all comes together. And there was actually a lot of similarities from the theater world to the psychology world to the military world with the study of leadership, and how many anecdotes and similarities there are with the different styles of leadership throughout. So yes, I got a Master's of Arts of Psychology with studying organizational leadership. That has actually helped me even to my current career.
Well, you've got a ton of stuff on here, but I want to kind of transition here for a minute if we can. And so I would imagine with the psychology, the Masters of Arts in Psychology, and then of course your commitment to leadership and to military, and that's really kind of maybe helped you in that transition out of service and what you're doing now with Team Red, White, and Blue. So tell us a little bit about that, like the transition. How was that for you? And then tell us about the organization.
So with the study of leadership, employers love veterans, and from my experience. So when I was transitioning out of the military and looking for a job, I was going to be a civilian for the first time as an adult. And it was scary, and I was nervous, and I was fortunate enough to, kind of find one of those headhunters companies. And there was literally a military hiring workshop. And as I went from interview to interview, definitely one thing I learned in theater and one thing I learned in the Army was rehearsals. It's all about rehearsals. So I rehearsed those interviews. I studied each company I was going to interview for. And I was fortunate enough to find a manufacturing company. There's a lot of similarities, again, in leadership and engineering and all that kind of fun stuff with manufacturing. So I went into manufacturing upon my exit out of the Army. I was what was called a platform manager, which was kind of like a business lead, and then became a leadership and development manager, ironically enough, for the company. And then when that company closed, I moved over to the Navy civilian side as a scheduling planner. But one of the key things that actually helped me personally, not professionally, but also personally from leaving the military was Team Red, White, and Blue. This was easily a godsend for me. So Team Red, White, and Blue's mission has actually changed. It was founded in 2010. But their mission changed. Initially, it was to enrich veterans' lives through physical and social interaction and becoming a part of the community. And the best part about Team RWB, or one of the parts that I consider one of the best parts, is how they bring in not only veterans, but also civilians. Anyone can join Team RWB. And when you're talking about ingratiating yourself in a community, it's important to have those civilians there, those civilian supporters that actually want to greet those veterans and actually make them a part of the community. So you actually have somebody to give you that warm welcome and to kind of a soft landing into the civilian world, because it can be a trial.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that we experience with people on here, talking often about the transition is tough. Making that switch. Yeah. Did you find it tough for yourself, or did Team Red, White, and Blue really help with that?
It did. Team RWB helped because they also focus on now where they focus. They want to be the America's leading resource for physical and mental well-being. So it definitely helped because their whole idea is it's very easy to think my best years of my life were when I was in the military, when I was in the Army, and I was running all the time and, on a good diet, and I was in the best shape of my life. Well, their whole focus is the best years of your life are in front of you. And so they look at ways to improve your mental health, your physical health, emotional, and, even spiritual well-being. So it's very reassuring to be able to go to that community and know that you're going to be with other folks that are like-minded, like-valued, and, to do a workout. But after the workout, after you're rucking or running or whatever else, you'll be able to talk about your experiences, talk about, whatever, telling dad jokes or whatever else. So right. It was a great experience for me. And then all of that transitioned into, or also helped with the professional aspect, knowing that, when I was in the Army, if I told somebody to do something, it typically got done. Not so much in the civilian, if I say, hey, I can't make somebody do push-ups because they didn't turn in an assignment. So
boy, that'd be a different world, wouldn't it?
Oh my gracious, that would be dynamite. But you find the different motivations for folks, and you learn to appreciate that everyone has a story. Everybody has a different motivation that drives them, why they go to work, why they support their families in the way they do, what family means to them, what professional aspirations they're going after, not just in the military, but also in the civilian world. So it helped me, Team RWB helped me see that, to look at individuals as people, not just soldiers, not just those that come from, in the military, it's very easy. Everybody is coming together because they are unified in a mission, or they're unified with the unit. In the civilian world, you've got people, again, from all walks of life, but have totally different motivations and may have nothing to do with you outside of coming to work and going home. But you're able to find those, appreciate those stories and say, you know what, no matter what, there's going to be something that's going to bring us together, even if it's just coming in the same door every day. Then let's, find that link and expound upon that in order to, get the next task done.
John, I hear you say you guys do some rucking and some running, I guess some humping and some hiking. What about the veteran who may be not in that good shape to do their physical? How do we deal with those guys?
So what I loved about Team RWB, I am not in the best shape of my life. I'm, when I first got out, I ended up, gaining weight like I had never gained weight before. Even after I told myself, I don't want to be like this. So what I love about Team RWB is that it meets you where you are. For every challenge that's out there, if there's going to be like in February, we've got a global war on terrorism challenge coming up in February, where we're going to do 100 miles in the month of February. So the shortest month of the year, but we're going to do 100 miles. The best thing about that is you can walk, run, jog. There's going to be a biking component to it. So if you can't run because of your knees, there's a biking alternative. If you're in a wheelchair, that's fine too. There's a wheelchair alternative. If there's also you can row crew, you can swim. There are all these different alternatives. So Team RWB will meet you where you are. The whole idea is the fact that no matter what your limitations are or what you think they might be, we're going to do it together. We're going to start together and end together, much like what we do in the military. No one's going to be left behind. We're going to do it together. And you can come to that community through the app and kind of challenge each other and push each other as you go through each day of that challenge. And that's just one example. Right. I mean, I can give you hundreds of similar types of challenges or experiences where no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, how young you are, we can all do it together.
Absolutely.
Right. Because I think back, I was kind of envisioning you guys doing your hikes. It kind of reminds me of, it would take me back to being in the bush,
Yep.
And there was some good things learned in the bush, some good times had in the bush.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if folks want to learn more about that, they could go to teamrwb.org. That's teamrwb.org. Go ahead, John.
So teamrwb.org. We also have an app, which we encourage anybody to go to. It's free. There are no dues. And all veterans, once you join, you get a red shirt that has, and we call ourselves Eagles. There'll be an eagle on the front. And it's kind of fun. And we're a nationwide organization. I know I'm in the Philadelphia chapter, but we are literally an international organization technically, but we're across the nation. We've got chapters in San Diego, Sioux Falls, North Dakota, Lawton, Oklahoma, to Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Philadelphia, New York, wherever. So
300,000 plus members is what it says here on the website, plus 19,000 plus annual events. So a lot of ways to get involved.
Absolutely. And no matter where you go, you go on the app, you click, the closest thing to you, you go to the event, you'll see somebody wearing a red shirt or wearing the eagle. And that's an instant community. You can just go say, hey, my name is John Bond. I'm here to, I'd love to walk with you guys or run with you guys, or, go to trivia night with you guys. And
that's a cool shirt too.
With open arms.
Yeah, that's a good looking shirt too. I see that.
And every veteran gets a free red shirt. So that's, boom, right there.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of great resources, a lot of great things you can get involved with here, John, to whether you want help or whether you want to be a supporter as well, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways to volunteer. There's a lot of different ways just to show your support. And it's not, not just financially, but just being there. Being there to listen. We work with so many other veteran service organizations like the USO, like the VFW, American Legion, American Bravo Canine, you name it, we'll work with them. We've done events not only locally, but also international, and also businesses like Starbucks, and even the professional sports teams like in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Phillies have partnered, and the Aaron Nola Foundation has partnered with Team RWB Philadelphia. And so there's a lot of different ways to get involved and to show your support, just to, get the word out there and to show that veterans' lives matter.
Absolutely. Well, that's what our podcast is about as well. Ben, any final thoughts or final questions for John from you?
Yeah, well, John, outreach leader for Compare Corps. Mm-hmm. We're a veteran organization too. We match veterans up with veterans who need support. And I'm definitely going to look forward to maybe even becoming a member myself. Please. And possibly referring some of the veterans that we assist so we can build more of a community. Because last thing we need is a veteran isolating and not engaging. We want to keep them engaged, especially with other veterans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are the statistic, less than 1% of those have ever served. And so when you're already that small of a community, being able to find folks that will share your stories, that will partner with you in whatever you might be going through, it's just vital to bring that community together.
Well, John, we couldn't thank you enough for being here. Great stories, great information about Team RWB, just a lot of good information. So as always, folks, if you need some help, you got some questions, how to get involved, we'll have links in the show description. Please reach out to the folks on there. We'll have links to Team RWB's website. We'll have links to Voice and Vision, as we always do. And of course, if you need some immediate assistance, if you're having some struggles, please reach out to someone and get some help. And as always, we appreciate your time here on Untold Valor. John Bond, you are a very chill dude. You have a license to chill. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Reverend. I definitely appreciate you guys having me on.
We'll be talking soon, John. We'll be talking soon.
Look forward to it.
Okay.
Have a great day. For Reverend Ben, I'm your host, Mark Kelly, and we'll see you next time here on Untold Valor, Veterans Recovery in Action. You've been listening to Untold Valor by Voice and Vision. We hope you found the information and resources discussed today helpful. As always, thank you for listening and for your support. Remember to stay connected with us through our various social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to visit the website, voiceandvisioninc.org. That's voiceandvisioninc.org, where you can sign up for our blog and find free resources and information on upcoming events, webinars, workshops, and get support. You can also access our free help and hope guide for individuals and families struggling with substance use and addiction. If someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help because you and your life matter. Remember, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available to you at any time by dialing 988. We are all ambassadors of hope and recovery. And if you want to share your story, please contact us. Compare Corps is also looking for veteran mentor volunteers and veteran participants. To find out more information about Compare Corps, please call 610-541-0790. That's 610-541-0790. You can find all the links and contact information for the resources mentioned on today's episode by checking the description and the show notes section of your app. Thank you again for tuning in and for your support. Until next time, this has been Untold Valor.